G'day and hello beautiful people, it is Mimo here. Hope you're having a fantastic day, afternoon, evening, night, no matter the time wherever you are, hope life is treating you well. Firstly, let's kick things off with an apology. I do apologise, I was absent with the Walker Wednesday update last week. I was generally busy with other things, but if I'm completely honest, there also wasn't too much actually happening in the game that was worthy of me actually sitting down and talking about it. Unfortunately, if you're not interested in War of Champions, and I 100% do not give a shit about War of Champions if I'm honest, if you're not sort of in that realm of player, then last week was sort of a not too much happening. On a side note though, I did manage to finish off the perfect pairing sort of roadmap and complete that act there, so that's a bit of an update from last week. Like I said, I can't really think of anything much more than that to report on from last week because I'm that pleb that doesn't care about War of Champions, and you know, I guess all I can really say along that line is congratulations to everyone that competed, the winners, so forth. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you didn't put too much of a burn in your pocket. And no, I'm not having a dig, because I was once that player. I'm not anymore, but I once was. Moving on now to the current week sort of update, and it comes into your little Valentine's lover little fiasco that we've got going. It is once again Davey. It's always Davey. He's the romantic apparently in this apocalypse. It's Crazy Davey, which makes sense because only the crazy ones are romantic during... I don't know. But anyways, moved on to the Blood and Roses. This is just me playing through the Blood and Roses here to get those bouquet of flowers so that I can get my Davey up into those star levels. Particularly looking at his player card, I wasn't very impressed. He's probably not a character that's going to go in my first team. Actually, definitely not going to go in my first team, but I will level him up and use him none the doubt, and just other things in general. I don't really mind getting characters that I don't see as really effective in like my big hitting teams, but I don't mind using them in other roadmaps and just to try them out. And it does help when you have certain roadmaps that are trait specific. You got to think of like your fast traits, your alert trait sort of roadmaps where you get gear and medallions or medals I should say, so they're very valuable rewards, and if you can have your character leveled up and with stars, then it's very handy to have various amount of traits, whether you like the character or not, for a PvP sort of aspect, which I don't particularly like him for a PvP sort of aspect. Not that I PvP, let's be honest, but I will use him in other things where I might actually need a trait specific alert there, so I will level him up and get him started up. And now love story wise, story map wise, I went with Serena, and if you want to know why I actually went with her, it's the curve. On the roadmap at the beginning, which you would have seen, Serena's Memories and Blood and Roses just has like this nice curve to it, and I couldn't resist. It was just a really nice curve, and I just went with it because it was in line. If I think about it honestly, I should have done the Scotsman. I wish the OCD part of me that was like, that's a nice curve, would have let me done the Scotsman, because I think that would have been an absolutely hilarious story just because of the Scotsman sort of attitude, but then the Crazy Davey. So I think that would have been a very cool story, and I'm sort of disappointed I didn't do that, but I couldn't resist the curve of, you know, the Serena sort of lineage. If I was to say it, like, I don't know why, but just like Scotsman, it would have been literally two kilts. Davey and his little kilt. Could you imagine how cute that would have been? Scotsman and his little cute. Oh my god, they would have had like little Chucky babies. That's legit what their babies would have been. Little Chucky babies. Oh my god, I'm disappointed I didn't choose that now. Why? Why didn't I choose that love story? God damn it. I was actually hoping that you could do both of them. With these events, they like to at first say, oh, you can only pick one, and then maybe give you an option later on. Sometimes this one, I have not seen or been able to get a bow tie available again to do it, and it does very much can say one consumable and you can only pick one roadmap. Sometimes they threw in a last minute little curveball where you can actually get another consumable and do the second one. There's been a few events where you've automatically thought, oh, you're only going to get one chance of one roadmap, and then at the last minute that's happened. It hasn't happened yet with this event, but I'm keeping my eye out just purely because I really would love to do the Scotsman roadmap for the story. I think you would probably notice with me right now, I absolutely am a huge fan of the stories. Bringing back to like the whole Walking Dead universe and the characters and the comics, it's a really big thing, and it's one of the things I do really still enjoy about this game is definitely the Walking Dead sort of spirit that's in it with the characters and the stories. It's one of my favourite things, and it's one of the reasons I still log in every day with this game. But at the moment it's pretty much we have the New World Order sort of event dying down. I've finished all the parts for that, and we'll put those out. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do an opening, but there may be a last minute opening for Nimrod. I'm a sucker for when it comes to like animals in the Walking Dead franchise. I'm a sucker for it. You know, you think of Shiva, absolutely glorious. I absolutely love Shiva. So I'm a bit of a sucker for animals, and he's got an owl. I want an owl. It just seems fabulous. Could you imagine having a bloody owl during a zombie apocalypse as your sidekick? That's the life I need. That's the life I want. So, I don't think I can resist it. There's probably going to be a last minute opening for that. Day and 20 hours left, so just under 2 days left. I think I have to. Honestly think I have to. The question is how many openings though for me to get him. I don't know if it's weird or cool that the only thing I'm excited about is the bloody owl. I'm sorry, Nimrod, but I just want your owl. I just want you for your owl. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's the only cool part about you. Your scars on your face? Meh. I just noticed what sort of a haircut he has. Definitely want the owl. I definitely want the owl. But nonetheless, that's just me ranting. I might end up doing one of those just while we're finishing off the roadmap here. Overall, probably the one thing that surprised me about this whole event, I was about to call it the Tuesday event, but that's on Survivors, not on this freaking game, is how easy the roadmaps were to actually get Davey and how easy he was to obtain. I'm not going to be honest, he's not the best character, like he's not pure garbage, but he's not, you know, an outstanding character where you would make him extremely hard to get just so you have that power sort of ratio still happening. Like, the last thing you want to be doing is giving out hugely effective and powerful characters that to everyone that are easily obtained. You create sort of like a plateau when it comes to power, and once you do that, then you have to sort of lift the power roof, and that's when you get this sort of power creep within the game, and we already have power creeps enough without them literally just handing out very powerful players. So I am surprised, yes, how easy Valentine's Davey is to get, but at the same time he's not a particularly powerful character or, you know, OP character that's going to change any degree of the current power system, or the current power creep system, I should say. It's not going to have to make them create ridiculously powerful characters in the next few weeks to overtake what they've just done, which they already do that a bit already, so the last thing you want is for them to be doing that. But like I said, I am still slightly surprised that he is so easy to get and how low level the roadmaps are. But then in saying that, new players are done so dirty in this game that I think it's a very respectable approach for them to have, honestly. They don't have to be handing out OP players we don't want that. You honestly don't want that for the reasons I just discussed. It will throw the game out, and you don't want that. But I think they do need to do more things like this, where they do make characters a lot easier to obtain for people that are newer, have either newer accounts or are newer to the game. And like I said, the reason for that is because these players are done extremely dirty in this game, especially with the transfer system. And I know I go on about that a lot, but the transfer system in this game is beyond stupid. And that's just me being 100% honest there. It's beyond stupid. It needs to have restrictions where people can't join certain servers for either a certain amount of time until that server's built up, or at all. With existing accounts, I mean, if you make a new account, go for it. But if you're trying to move your existing account into a new server, or a server that is underdeveloped, no. I think they should, when they start servers, it should purely be only for new accounts and nothing else. You should not be able to transfer like powerful accounts in. And I'm not saying it has to be that way forever, but it has to be that way for quite a while before that server and those accounts are going to build up the level that, you know, these people have that have been playing for 6 years or years. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about it because that stuff really annoys me with the transfer system and how warped it is, honestly. So yeah, like I said, I think it's great that they do events like this where they make the actual achievement low tier enough for new accounts to be able to get a very big upgrade for them as a player. But for the rest of us, like I said, you probably won't use him. He's just a nice addition to have, especially if you have trait-specific sort of criteria you have to fulfill. He might come in handy, and he's good to get level ups once you get him to that tier 5. Good for level up points and so forth. But that player will make a huge difference to new accounts more than existing accounts. Especially if those existing accounts have numerous years on it, it's not going to make much of a difference. So all in all, I'm a big fan of this event. I quite liked the roadmap story. It was actually really cool. Even though I went Serene. I think I've been calling her Serena this whole time, and her name's Shalene. Anyways, nonetheless, let's move on to Survivors. So essentially, for the last, I'm going to go like week and a half with Survivors, it's been all about getting the town hall to level 18. So I managed to at least get that up, and then there was a couple of other buildings up in the corner I need to finish in regards to the well and then the food supply or the gardens. And I was doing those in the meanwhile while I was doing my actual main town hall, just to be as efficient as I could and wasn't wasting any of my construction sort of time, which is something I've not really thought about until now, which I don't know why. But anyways, managed to get that to level 18. By the time I was finished constructing the building, all my construction, everything was level 17 already that could have been level 17 in my town, minus naturally one of my squares, which I was not able to level up anymore because of my town hall, so it was limiting it. So that one will go up a bit more as well, but the more important thing was I now had my 4th formation, so square number 4, and that was one of the main reasons I was looking for. That's pretty much the most important aspect of going up to level 18, is actually you get your 4th formation. Now naturally when you first get your formation they're fairly weak, but you don't really use them as one of your top 3 for quite a while, so it doesn't really matter. When it comes to building wise, you got the house, the extra gun shop, and also the square, so the formation 3. I sort of already had it lined up to where I knew roughly where I wanted to replace them, so there was less Tetris happening when I first actually started placing them down. I did change it up a bit in the end, so I guess there was some Tetris slightly, but at first I roughly knew where I wanted them and I had it cleared out enough so it was grouped up with the rest of it. So like I said, square number 4 for my 4th formation. I find like the 4th formation is really handy when it came to my events, so I could just use them to go fetch resources and all those sorts of things where it had no rating of your team, so it was just another lot of stamina that I didn't have to use in the event, so it was really good for that, and just sending them off to fetch resources. And then I decided I need to obviously target all my squares and get my formations up as fast as possible, as well as also the storage units, because to actually, or the storage of my town, to actually level up my square 1, square 2, I had to actually get all my storage right, so my food, my meat, water, all those storages had to be maxed out at the level 18 building for me to actually level up my squares. So I went ahead and did that, as well as my war. If I wanted to get my war up as well, I need to have my garden or my farm, so my food storage up as well with that. So I went and did that, and then it was just basically draining a whole lot of my bullets getting these squares up for my formations. I managed to get my first square, so formation 1 up to 18. Formation 2 is currently still on its timer for 18, and then we've got formation 3 is sitting at 17. It's coming up to 17, and formation 4 is coming up to 9 at the moment. So we've got all the formations sort of going. All my storages are maxed out at 18, so I'm able to hold a lot of it. I went up to 21.7 million power rating, so I'm definitely getting up in there. I think the main reasoning for that is all my blue gear that I've got, and also all the development gear that I've got. That's where I am at the moment with that. Also, another crucial thing that happened for the week, or the last week and a half, was I finally managed to get enough coins in my garage to finally get a second support vehicle, or get a second vehicle I should say, which is good because my second formation, my first formation is like ridiculously OP. It's obviously my strongest formation, which it should be, based off my technologies and the team in it and so forth. It should be my strongest formation, and it's that strong that there's such a gap between it and my second formation that I think a vehicle was really required for my second formation, just to help them out a bit. I mean, they need a lot more help than that because there is a ridiculous gap between them. My second and third formations are closer than what my first and second are. So I really need to start pumping some resources into my second formation for a little bit, just to get, I mean, it's still very, very strong. Like, my second and third formations are still at the 500,000 power rating, so they're still strong enough. But my first one is just so far ahead that I sort of need to concentrate a little bit on them. So that's where I found a vehicle was a good little addition for my second formation. Eventually the bus, because I did end up getting the bus because I felt like the construction cost was more viable at the moment, because I'm upgrading a lot more than what I'm researching. Like, you have a 5 upgrade or construction queue where I only have a 1 for the technology, so it just made sense to get the school bus for now, and eventually I'll get the RV, and you know, at least 3 of my formations will have vehicles. At the moment, body-wise, I managed to get it up to level 12 at the end of this week. Performance-wise, same thing, got it up to level 12 there. Exterior-wise, it's still at the same thing that it was in this video here, which was the 4, I believe, for everything. My plan with this is that my carriage is still my strongest exterior quality. It's up to what I think level 14 or something like that, so it's still got the better percentage of attack, defense and health, so it will still stick with my first formation just because it is my strongest formation, so naturally you give it the strongest gear. And the second one will go to my second formation, but I will concentrate on leveling it up so it can eventually replace the horse and carriage and be in my first formation. But that's it for this week. As always, I hope you did enjoy. I thank you for watching, and always remember how awesome you are. Bye!
Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadow.